and welcome back to a Fresh Perspective on Business podcast. I am Vicky Taylor. I'm the manager of Fresh Perspective. We are a recruitment business based in Chorley. I'm here with my co-host, Laura Leyland, the managing director of Fresh Perspective.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
Happy to be back on the podcast with you.
I say this all the time, but it feels ages since we've been here, doesn't it?
Yeah. And well, it is longer, isn't it? Because we had to start doing them fortnightly.
We did, which is a shame.
It is a shame, but it's because, well, for positive reasons, we just got super, super busy at Fresh HQ, helping all of our customers with their recruitment training, HR training and retention, that we just didn't have time to do a podcast every week.
No, and you might think we just rock up here and wing it, but we actually don't. We actually prepare for these things, and it does take a bit of time, so...
Shocking, I know.
Yeah, we're not actually winging this. It is all prepared.
Yeah, we do genuinely think about what are topics related to business and or recruitment and people that people might need to listen about, may need some pearls of wisdom, some tips, or just to hear us clarify your own thoughts about planning and strategizing for business growth. But yeah, we do plan what kind of topics would people be interested in listening about. Sometimes we look at like trending topics just out there in the economy at the moment, and other times it's based on things we've experienced with our clients more recently, so it's fresher in our heads, which is possibly how we've landed on today's topic.
Yeah, so we're talking today about tackling difficult conversations.
Ooh.
I know, yeah, probably something that everybody hates to do.
Most people.
Yeah, it's not nice.
No, unless you're like on the disc profile, if you're only a high D personality type, they would probably deal with difficult conversations, no drama.
Do you think they enjoy them?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, but they don't think about them. So they
No.
won't necessarily, they'll probably go in with an agenda, like not because they're bad people, but they'll go in, right, I need to talk about this, can be quite direct, may come across as blunt, possibly would leave a carnage of emotion behind them that they may not notice.
Yeah.
So even those people, even if you're happy to do them, I do think learning about how to do them well will have more of a positive impact, and they will land better with the person you're doing it with.
Yeah, because it is a bit of a skill, isn't it? Because I haven't always been good at difficult conversations. You have to learn how to do.
Did you used to shy away from them, Vicky Taylor?
Maybe I did, and maybe I used to get heart palpitations straight before going into them, but that has now changed.
It has changed, and same with me, because I very nice person, as lots of people are, and having difficult conversations. A difficult conversation for me is talking to someone about something negative. So if someone's upset me, if someone hasn't been performing at work, or something's gone wrong, and broaching the subject. So they make you feel awkward because you feel like the outcome is going to be negative. And so you worry about them.
Yeah.
You maybe procrastinate a tiny bit, or used to, and you naturally want to avoid them.
Yeah, you don't want to have them conversations. You'd rather have a nice, fluffy, positive conversations, but they are inevitable that you will have to have them.
Yeah, and having them is for the good of you and the person you're talking to, because if they're not aware of what's happened, then telling them gives them the opportunity to know, appreciate, and make a change. They may not always do that, but you're giving them the chance, and that's what everybody deserves. And the reason why you probably avoid them is because you feel like by having that conversation with them, you are assuming, and in some cases projecting, that they will be upset and not like it.
Yeah,
but that might not always be the case, because that's an assumption.
Yes, because you don't know how that other person is going to react by what you're telling them. So I think sometimes it is the unknown.
Yeah, and again, talking about personality type, depends on their personality type as to how they take it. Again, in the example earlier, if they are high D, probably would take it quite well because they don't need a lot of fluff. Yeah. They appreciate direct contact, and so it's understanding how to have your difficult conversations with the different personalities in your team. That's why it's important to understand your team. Maybe do some kind of psychometric or personality-based testing, and then you can adjust your approach with everyone, which is possibly one of the hardest things you've found as you've become a manager, is being that chameleon of communication.
It's not like a one size fits all, isn't it? It's not like if you follow this process to have a difficult conversation, this will be the outcome. You do have to adapt and have different ways of approaching it with different people. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, knowing who needs what from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people will need a softer, more wordy and explanatory process. Others, you just need to get straight to the point and go, listen, this happened.
Yeah.
What was going on? Why did it happen? But with some people, that would make them want to just literally just run away from you or hide under the table.
Yeah.
Because it's too direct and it is really hard. There's so many, it's multifaceted because it's not just learning how to have a difficult conversation, learning tips and tricks and techniques to make you feel comfortable and therefore it lands well with the person. It's then that communication piece to go that bit further.
Yeah.
For each individual person and personality type.
Yeah, because not everyone is great at receiving feedback, are they? Even though everyone loves to say, I love feedback, I love getting feedback, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. It's not always the case.
No, because we call it constructive feedback, but really, it is criticism.
Yeah.
It's constructive because
yeah.
Unless it's not, it should be constructive, shouldn't it? It should be something that someone can do something about.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it might not always be. You might just have to have a frank conversation with someone about something. But I would say like 90% of the time, constructive.
Yeah. And why is it? So we talked about the importance of having them and kind of what that means. Why would you say? Like, what are the benefits and why should people have difficult conversations?
Well, it's like you mentioned before, not everyone might be aware that they're doing whatever it is that you're giving them the feedback on. Yep. I think that was something that I always thought. I feel like because I'm quite a self-aware person, I feel like if you were to give me feedback, I'd probably be like, or have a difficult conversation, I'd probably like, I know this is coming. I know what you're going to talk to me about. But I think if people aren't as self-aware, then you might be telling them something that they have no clue that they've done, or they didn't realise it had come across in that way, or anything like that. So it's making them aware of their actions as well. And I think it's for the greater good of the team as well. So if something's happened and you haven't addressed that with a certain person, what does it look like to the team? That people are getting away with things, that things aren't being addressed that might be upsetting other members of the team. It can just create like animosity there.
Yeah, it's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if people know that someone's not pulling the weight, being a bit of a dick, and it's ignored by management and allowed to happen, that will make them feel that unjust. It might lead to a toxic work environment. They may leave. They may never talk to you about it. They might talk to you about it. That would be a difficult conversation that they would need to raise.
Yeah.
But if they can see that it's being dealt with, so if someone's had an outburst in the office, for example, if it's ignored, they're like, I mean, it's awkward, isn't it? Tumbleweeds going past, everyone's like, oh my God, no one knows what to say. Everyone's just like trying to pick up the phone. Oh, just going to the toilet.
Avoid eye contact.
But if someone had an outburst and Vicky was, in our office, and Vicky was like, Laura, I'm going to use myself in this example. I'm not going to highlight anybody else because I don't want anyone to think that, this is just an example. Laura, can we have a chat? And that's all it needs. You just take them away to a private space and you're like, what, are you okay?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't necessarily go, you just did that. That's unacceptable. That's not the way to do it.
No.
Because you need to think about why did that just happen. So you say, right, let's have a chat. So by the nature of you verbally going, let's go and have a chat, everybody else can go, Vicky's on this. She's going to go and sort this out. It's being dealt with as it should be.
Yes.
Respect, integrity, trust. And then obviously you go and have the conversation with the person, like, I'm really having a shit time at home. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, there's normally something behind it.
It's usually a source, and it's usually something unrelated. A lot of the time, poor performance, bad behaviour, whatever it is that you're addressing, that's not usually the cause, is it? That's usually like a knock-on effect or a symptom of an underlying cause that's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, especially if that is out of character for the person.
Yeah. And as well, like just mentioned before, that it could be if an employee needed to have a difficult conversation. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're not a manager, you're not a team lead or a leader of people, it's still relevant, because even as employees or even in any element of your life, could be with your family or your friends, or, you know, someone that's a supplier, Sky, EE, whoever it is, making a complaint or addressing a situation is a difficult conversation. And so hopefully anyone will take some tips from today's podcast.
Yeah, and as well, because I think I've mentioned it in the schedule, like, you can take this into not just in the workplace, like you can take this into maybe like your personal life as well. Do you know, like you said, like if you're complaining to E or whatever, or maybe with your friends or your family, if you need to have, it's not just this is a workplace thing. You can then take what you learn and maybe take it into your personal life as well. So it's actually for anybody, this podcast.
Yeah, because you put here, like, approaching these conversations with confidence, empathy, clarity to ensure a positive outcome, and then to add to that, respect and kindness and positivity. If you approach every single conversation like that, especially the difficult ones, it will be as positive as it can be. If you don't approach it with empathy, kindness or respect, it will never be a good outcome. But at least you're giving it the best chance it possibly can. And like, what if I've complained about someone's put butter on my steak in a restaurant and I'm dairy free? Like, you wouldn't just be like, oi, idiot, I've got butter on my steak, because they'd probably go and take it into the kitchen and spit on it.
Yeah, probably.
Like, oh, excuse me, I've just noticed that there's butter on my steak, and I can't eat it because I'm dairy free. Please, can you give me another one? Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, really sorry. Yes, of course. Whereas if you're rude to them, I mean, they might still do it because obviously they don't want you to be ill in the restaurant, but it's not going to be a nice situation. It's not nice, and they're human people.
I was just about to say that, like, these people are humans at the end of the day, whether...
Even if they're pissing you off.
Yeah, they are humans, and they've got feelings, and like you said before, they might have other shit going on behind the scenes, and approaching it in a negative way, you're only going to get a negative outcome if you approach it in a negative way. And the point is, you need to see what you want to achieve from the conversation that you're having.
Yeah, what's the end point?
Yeah, and it will be something positive that you want to achieve at the end.
In any situation, even if it's a refund.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna. You've more chances of getting that, and with a supplier if you're nice. If you're not nice, if you're like, oh, whatever, we don't want you to be a customer. Bye.
Yeah. So you just, like you said, you need to go into it with as much as a positive mindset as possible, even though it might be quite difficult if it's something you're a bit nervous about. But yeah, with kindness and empathy as well.
Yeah, so preparing for them.
Yeah.
Don't just go in the heat of the moment.
No.
Give it a beat, especially if you feel emotional or it's been an emotionally charged situation. Calm down.
Yes.
Process. And then you respond to the situation rather than reacting to it. And then you can deal with it factually, practically, non-emotionally, and prepare. Like, I used to write down points I wanted to make because I wanted to stay on topic, because obviously you don't know what the other person's going to say. Yeah. And I know you did the same. You prepare for it.
You used to help me prepare for them. When I first started doing them and I was really nervous about it, I would sit with Laura, chat to her about it, write about what I wanted to say, what I wanted the outcome to be, and then I was prepared going into it.
You've got your points.
Yep.
And, depending on what they say, you can always come back to your points. And I think it's important to, obviously, prepare anyway. And Vicky doesn't need to prepare, and I don't the same way, unless there's a few things we need to remember to raise so that we don't forget anything whilst we're in the meeting. Because you don't want to have to go, oh, by the way, can we have a follow-on meeting about that difficult topic that we were talking about?
I know, you don't want to.
You want to get it done and dusted in one go, ideally. But there's nothing wrong with preparing for it so that it can be structured and fact-based.
Yeah, I think that's important, isn't it? Like, you need it to be fact-based. It's not just about your emotions and things like that. I think it comes across a lot better if you have facts to back up what you're saying.
Yeah, because people are like, well, what do you mean? When did I do that? And if you've not got the answers, well, it's a pointless conversation. It's all theoretical. If they're saying they don't remember and you've not given them any evidence or facts or situations, it's really hard to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it should be done as soon after the situation.
Yeah, I was going to say that you need to like you said before, you need to leave it a certain amount of time if it is like an emotionally fueled thing, so you aren't going into it just purely based on emotions, and things could get a bit heated. Yes, but you don't want to leave it too long, because if it's something that's kind of happened and then you wait a week to talk to them about it, it's a bit pointless then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really pointless. It's like with, I know it's not the same, but Penny, my pug, little black pug, she steals things. So she's usually electronic items she chews. So she takes my shoes, but she just lies with my shoes. That's fine, but she chews up my headphones and my glasses. But because she does it when I'm not there, because she only does it when I'm not in the house, I don't know when she's done it. So when I get back, I can't tell her off, because it could have been an hour ago and she doesn't know.
She has no idea, do they?
Because it's not in the moment. So I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So if you left it too long, you can't really address it. You're just going to have to wait to see if it happens again.
Yeah. So don't procrastinate about these things.
Great word.
Because I know that people may try and put them off. Like, it's like circling back to what we said before. You might be like, I'm just going to put it off a bit, and then maybe people might forget that it's happened, or we might be able to just move past it. And then maybe the same thing will happen again like 2 weeks later, and you're like, shit, I should have addressed that at the time, because it might not have happened again.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Vicky, why do you think, why are they so challenging? Why do people avoid them?
People as a whole probably don't like conflict, do they, or having to like upset people. I don't like having to upset people.
Me neither.
I don't like having to tell people like they've done something wrong, or
I feel that's a mark of a good manager. If there's a manager out there that likes upsetting people, I don't think you should be a manager.
But I've heard stories before. I think people love, like, these are bad managers. I think people love like that power trip, don't they? Like raising the voice to people, shouting at them. I would never shout at my team, ever.
I think some people think that creates respect, but it doesn't. It creates fear.
And then you lose like that open honesty from your team if they fear you. Yeah. Which is just not good, is it?
I think for the short term, you can get the same response to respect and fear. So if people respect you and they work hard, or if people are scared of you, they work hard. But there will come a point where the respect is a better long-term strategy than the fear.
Oh my God, absolutely. Because like, if you fear someone, you're not enjoying going to work, are you? They're probably going to leave at some point.
Yeah, or become ill and anxious.
Well, yeah, and it's just, it's not fair, so I just don't think that is a way to approach a situation like that at all.
And so, getting into nitty-gritty, so we've talked about doing them, why you don't want to do it, and so you have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that you must prepare for them, especially if you're worried about them and it's a big deal to you. So then how would you then structure that conversation? Like, how would you approach the actual difficult conversation itself?
Okay, so you can't go in like all guns blazing. Like, so if we're having a difficult conversation, we always come in this back room, don't we? So we'll sit down. And I think you have to approach it with empathy. It can't just be, you've done this and this is wrong. So we always like to start with, I've noticed this.
Oh my God, we say that. When we were taught that.
Yeah.
That was I think that's the biggest thing. Because I always knew, probably hammered into me to be more question-based.
Yeah.
With the approach. And that's probably a thing I took from our training. But that was the biggest tool for me. Because instead of going, you've done this.
Yeah.
You've not done that. That's quite
direct.
I've noticed. It's just a softer way of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed this. Why is that?
Yeah.
What's going on? And are you okay?
Yeah. But then it's allowing them to speak, isn't it? Like, you've brought them into it and it's listening to what they've got to say. Not just firing a load of questions at them. You've not done this.
This is the impact.
Yeah, this looks really bad, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's giving them an opportunity to explain or just have their say on the matter, because they're absolutely allowed that. This isn't about you in that situation, is it?
No.
It's about them. So it's giving them that time to speak and not interrupting and not going off on one, just letting them have the time to say what they need to say.
And make notes if you want to. I'm just going to make a few notes so I don't so I can remember
Yeah.
all this information, because it's important, because you don't know what they're going to say. They could just be like, do you know what? Yeah, I didn't hit my goals yesterday or last week. I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened. I think I probably just didn't give it my all, and I'm going to improve my game. And you're like, right.
Yeah, because
You might go, well, why? Why did you not give it your all? What is there another reason? There might not be another reason, but in a lot of cases there is a reason, and sometimes they might not know it straight away, because you have to question most, like, well, why do you feel anxious? Like, what's going on? What are you feeling anxious about? What's going on at home? What's going on with your friends? And dig, and then they might say something, you're like, right, okay, this could be it, and then you can support.
Yeah, because you've got to remember, as much as it is uncomfortable for you, delivering this to them is also very uncomfortable for them as well. And you're prepared for it, and they may not be prepared for it.
They aren't prepared for
Well,
it,
no,
are they?
No, especially if they aren't as self-aware and maybe don't know that they've done this. So, yeah.
Okay, so open it in a nice, non-confrontational way.
Yeah.
Listen to the answers. Ask questions.
Absolutely.
Be empathetic, kind, respectful, and sensitive.
Yeah, to the situation.
You do still need to not dance around the topic, though.
No, you have to balance, like, giving them the information and being sensitive and empathetic to the situation.
So you still need to be honest about what's happened. You can't just only be empathetic and sensitive and just let them, not like give you a load of stuff and you're like, right, that's fine. And then you come out thinking, oh, I've addressed it. But you've told them about it. But have you actually addressed it? Are they going to change something? Whereas you need to just say, right, yeah, I get that. And depending on what it is, you either support them if they need to go and see a therapist, a doctor, some time off, whatever. If it's nothing like that, you're like, right, but we need to make a plan now. Why did you not do it? You didn't do this. So let's put together some metrics, some smaller KPIs and goals to get you back on track.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're coming out of it. You have to come out of the meeting with some kind of action plan and end goal.
Yeah,
it's not just a meeting of you. Yeah, it's not just a meeting of you telling them about it. Like, right, okay, bye.
Yeah, because what's the point in that?
They'll just come out if they are a naughty employee. We've all had some of them. They might come out thinking, "Woo, got away with that."
Well, yeah,
and there's no consequence or actions off the back of it. And then they might think, "Oh, that were all right. I'll carry on doing it."
Yeah, because as much as we were saying, like, you don't want them to fear you. You want them also not to want to
take the mick.
Yeah, you don't want them to be like, oh, well, when Vicky's having a difficult conversation with me, it's not actually that difficult, so it doesn't matter if I don't hit my goals.
Then it's not respect, is it?
No. Yeah. So you kind of want them to be like, I don't want to have this conversation again.
Yeah. And you can't keep doing. You've got to get that outcome, because otherwise, essentially they might not be the right person for the team, because you've got to think of the wider team and the impact of that person and their behaviour or whatever on the wider team. Your job is to protect everybody in that team, in your company, not just this one person. And so you have to, if it gets difficult, you're thinking, I don't know what to do. They're being a bit defensive, a bit confrontational back. You can't back down, because you've got to take it for the team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably in a roundabout way, like talking to them as well about what the impact of what has happened has on the wider team or the business or whatever that may be.
And you might need to drop your empathy levels. You go in with high empathy, high understanding, kindness, respect. Never lose the respect or
Absolutely
the kindness.
not, no.
But you might need to lower your empathy and increase your assertiveness, because if they come back, if they're combative, if they're rude, if they're confrontational and defensive, you need to listen.
Match it.
That's not okay. It's not. This is not reasonable. It's not acceptable to speak to them this way. We need to take it down a notch.
Yeah, especially if you have approached that situation in the way that we've spoke about here, and then they come back, because people can get defensive when you're calling them out on the shit sometimes. Yeah. But I think
people can get angry.
Yeah, they can, and I've had conversations where they have got a bit defensive, but they wouldn't raise their voice at me or anything like that. But it is bringing them down from that. Yeah. That level, isn't it?
Yeah. So start it in the way that you want it to carry on.
Yeah.
But be prepared for the fact that they may not meet that empathy and kindness, because they might come back with anger and frustration. But you'll have to bring up the assertiveness levels to to deal with that situation and then bring it back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
So still get a positive outcome.
Yeah, but unfortunately you can't prepare for that. That is something that you just
No.
need through practice.
Yeah. And managing your emotions is really key here. So if they start getting all aggy at you, just breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe, look at your notes, and just manage your emotions, which is really hard because we might be bosses, employers, owners of businesses, directors, leaders, managers, but except we're all human people. We all have emotions, and it's really hard sometimes to not respond emotionally.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are quite emotional people, aren't we? And it's been something that is hard for us because we are emotional people, and we do, when we're angry, we cry. When we're sad, we cry.
When we're happy,
we cry. When we're stressed, we cry. Our emotional response is to cry to absolutely everything. That's okay. But yeah.
There you go. That's something that you never knew about the management team at Fresh Perspective.
I know, yeah. Giving away all our secrets, aren't we? That we're big criers.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we are just people. And it's still managing through that emotion and still sticking to the goal and thinking, right, despite this, we need to push on and we need to sort this out.
Yeah.
Obviously, some emotions could be anger. I've had that in the past. It's something that, because I'm like, the injustice of this conversation, the way this person is speaking to me, it used to get me really riled up, like, and it's been a real process over like the last 6 to 8 years for me to manage that, because I am a fiery person. I am really passionate, and it's really, I find it hard, and I think I've done a great job.
You have.
So I'm told by Vicky, not
you
just
have
myself.
done a great job.
But it's hard, so I really get it. It's when someone's being rude to you, you just want to tell them to piss off.
Absolutely.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's been times I've wanted to maybe smack people around the face, but I haven't.
No, we have learned, haven't we, how to go into these situations with not no emotion, but take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Deal with it. We might go and have a cry after it or scream somewhere.
Or rant to each other.
Yeah.
That's fine. We might go for a walk or we'll go into the meeting. Like, right. And actually, do you know what? That's a really good point. The one I'm about to make. You prompted me to make. Is debrief. So you've had the conversation. You've set some plans or whatever they are with the person. You might follow up with them in an email or something. But I would say if you don't need to be in that meeting by yourself, bring in another manager or a leader. And then what that allows you to do after it is to debrief.
Yes.
Like you would after an interview. You'd be like, how do you reckon that? How did that go? What do you think? Do that after your meetings.
We do that, don't we?
Yeah. It doesn't have to just be the difficult ones either. We do it after people's one-to-ones and appraisals as well, and just have a catch-up. Because obviously some things come out of those meetings that you're not expecting from your employee. Yeah. And a lot of it is positive. You're like, oh my God, I never knew that person wanted to move into that kind of, wanted to progress into that role. That's amazing. Let's put together a personal development plan for that person. But always debrief, and especially the difficult ones, like, how did you think that went? And you'll be like, oh my God, I can't. And you can speak freely to each other, manager to manager. And like, I can't believe they said that. Swine. I were really annoyed when they said that. But I'm really glad about the overall outcome because they raised some really good points here. I'm sorry to hear about this and what can we do to support them. And you will grow as managers, you will grow as leaders, you will really support your people, they'll appreciate you, the whole team will have respect for you. It will absolutely increase your retention, improve your culture, and reduce absenteeism and people leaving.
Yeah, because I think it encourages like this open, honest, like transparent culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where people then feel like they can come and talk to you about stuff because you're open and honest
and fair
with them, that they feel like they can come and talk to you and you can stop things like this happening. You know where your team's up to, they can talk to you about anything, you're approachable. So
approachable is key, isn't it? And that's where managing the emotions is really important, because if you don't manage your emotions, and it's horrible because you're either angry or really hysterical, obviously, if you might sort that situation out, but they are unlikely to come and talk to you about potential problems because they feel like it would be very difficult.
Yes.
Whereas if you've managed your emotions and it's been really productive, they're like, do you know what, I actually, when we had to talk about that, it was okay. And that was a horrible situation. So I feel like I can go and talk to you about this situation that's a new thing that's bothering me.
Yeah.
Which will then prevent you having to have difficult conversations in the future.
Look at that. Sorted.
Oh, I had to have a difficult conversation when I went to ski. And I had my first ski lesson for my birthday.
Did you?
So my birthday's a couple of weeks ago now, a Capricorn lady. And I had a ski lesson and I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't realise that, I'd run a long way the day before, so I was a bit sore. And I didn't realise as soon as you put your skis on, you're on the slopes. That's it. He's like, right, go up these hills, ski down. And I'm like,
I thought you did some practice on like a flat
we
bit.
maybe did a bit of slidey. That were it.
God.
And then we're off. And I'm like, felt really nervous. It was very slippy. I've never done.
Yes.
I was so out of control, and I felt embarrassed because everybody in my group was younger than me and better than me at skiing, and I felt really embarrassed. But I thought I need to have this difficult. So I had to say it in front of everybody when I went forwards for my turn to go down the hill. I'm thinking, God, I can't. I'm dreading this, and I didn't want to say in front of everybody, listen, I'm really scared, and I've never done it before, and I feel terrified, and I just really appreciate if you could support me a bit more. And I didn't want to do it in front of everybody. But I thought, I'm going to have to do this. Going to have to lead by my own example and have a difficult conversation out here on the ski slopes. So that's what I said. I'm like, listen, obviously I didn't start with I've noticed because it was different. But I was like, right, this is the first time I've done it. He's like, yeah, most people, it's their first lesson. I'm like, okay. When I explained how I felt. And then it was okay because he was like, right, I get it. I'll come down with you. I'm like, right. So he was really supportive. Yeah. Had I not broached a difficult conversation and got over my fear of embarrassment and judgment, I'd have probably decked it and terrified myself even more.
And then you may not have wanted to ski again because you would have been like, that was my first time going down a slope. Horrible experience. Not doing this again.
Yeah. So it really does work.
Yeah. It
does. You just
does.
have to push yourself into that uncomfortable zone and just have a difficult conversation for the greater good.
Yes.
Okay, right, and then so we've dealt with the conversation itself, and kind of afterwards, setting out clear steps, clear action plans, and expectations for the future following what you've discussed and what you've agreed.
Yeah. And turning difficult conversations into opportunities for growth and improved relationships. And I think that is really, it's really true that I have seen that from when I've had difficult conversations with the team. After it, I feel like our relationship is better because we've had those difficult conversations. And then you see that improvement in them.
Yeah. I think you have a better bond.
Yeah.
When you've been through difficult times with someone and you've come out the other end, whatever that might be, and in a lot of cases you have a stronger bond because you've worked together to get through something.
Yeah, exactly. But then I've seen it on the other side where I've had difficult conversations with people. They haven't taken it well at all. They're no longer with us.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Not everybody's the right person, and not everybody's the right person for the long term.
Yeah.
Some people can come for a reason, and then it's just no longer a good fit, and they move on, and it's okay. It's just part of the natural order of life and business.
Yeah.
And as well, like the opportunity for growth isn't just for the person that you're speaking to, but it is for you as managers and leaders as well.
Well, yeah. And I feel like we're examples of that.
Oh. So I think obviously we can help with training on this. We've been through it ourselves. We are a recruitment business. We provide recruitment support, recruitment training, HR support, HR training, and other bits and pieces such as LinkedIn training for sales teams, which is not relevant to this conversation.
But just in case you wanted it.
You can follow us on LinkedIn, by the way, if you don't already. Laura Lale and Vicky Taylor, Fresh Perspective Resources. But if you wanted any help with this, get in touch with us on LinkedIn or go to the website, give us a call, drop us an email. The website is www.f-for-perspective-resourcing.co.uk. Got it right this time, unlike the last podcast I was on. We can help with this, provide some templated structure, some process, and some training on how to do it. We had that because we didn't know how to do it at first.
We actually had to get training for it, didn't we?
And now we're really passionate about it. Sorry, my PA just coming to get me a broom. Distracted me from what I was saying. So if you want some help and support, you absolutely can get it from us or other HR professionals or leadership and management training people, so that you can handle these tough discussions effectively for you. Whatever it is you do, who you are, who your people are, it will be different for everybody depending on your personality types. Absolutely. And what it is you do. But yes, as leaders, we must model healthy conflict resolution.
We absolutely must, even though we might not want to.
Any final takeaways or tips, Vicky, that we've not mentioned?
Have we mentioned everything? I think we've mentioned everything, haven't we?
I think so. It's probably just to kind of say again that doing them is really important in the way that we've structured it, because your team will see the issues are dealt with, so everything is fair, which creates trust, respect and loyalty and will positively impact your culture. It means that toxicity of your work environment, any poor performance, poor behaviour is addressed and kept to a minimum or eradicated completely. But like having those conversations, so we have one-to-ones and appraisals with the team, or we ask them how they are, and we do spot when things are changed in behaviour and have a chat with them. Don't just wait for a one-to-one. I'm like, is everything all right? Because we've noticed you've been a bit snappy or a bit quiet or whatever. But having the difficult conversations, like we said, can lead to growth, because it can lead to a better understanding of your people, because the root cause of the issue is not unlikely to be the poor behaviour or the bad behaviour or the poor performance. That is a knock-on effect of another problem, and knowing what your team are going through and trying to support them through it is really important, because if you can, and obviously you're doing a nice thing for another human person, but it does genuinely benefit your business, because they'll appreciate that, they'll be loyal, you'll inspire them, they'll be motivated employees. It'll reduce absence, and it should increase retention, reduce attrition, therefore reduce recruitment spend, because you're not recruiting to replace people that are leaving. You're genuinely recruiting for growth.
Yeah, and it will, I don't know if you've mentioned this, but it will have a positive impact on your business, because when your team are happy, you get more productivity out of them, better for the business. Clients are happy. It's just a 360 circle, isn't it?
Yeah. Looking after your people means they look after your customers, and then that in turn looks after you.
Yeah!
Yay! Wins all round. Right, okay. I'm going to struggle standing up because my entire body hurts from marathon training.
I've remembered what it's like. I feel like I forgot about it, and then that's when I was like, let's do the London Marathon. And now we're at that stage again, aren't we, where I'm like, oh, everything hurts. I'm tired all the time. I'm hungry all the time.
Yay!
I know. It's really not glamorous marathon training at all.
It's hard work. Like, when you do the London Marathon, you'll absolutely love it. Obviously, it's going to be hard because it's a marathon.
Yeah.
But the buzz and the people are amazing. And that's what, when you're in that zone, you're like, let's do it again. That's what you remember, and you forget about the times where you have to run a long way, do your strength training, be at a certain weight level so it's not harder to run, but fuel yourself enough, and Anyway, enough of us moaning, but we've been positive the whole podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We just needed a little rant then, but we're enjoying it.
We are about to go live next week, I believe, with the finalists of our very own business awards, the Freshies, which are not for profit. So all the profits go to charities local to Lancashire and the North West. So we'll be announcing our finalists next week. Tickets are on sale, and there are still sponsorship opportunities for as little as £250. Wow. If you want to get involved to support your local community within Lancashire or the North West, and help us to help charities, and also celebrate the awesome people within our midst.
And it's a really good night as well.
The best night.
Yeah, just come
so
for
much
a good
fun.
party
If
as
you
well.
just want to have a good night out, it's
then,
like the party of the year.
Yeah, it's at Rivy Barn, which is a great venue as well. So
where is it Anderton or Harwich, or is it classed as Rivington? Is that a place?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Near Chorley.
It's between Chorley and Harwich. Yeah, it's really good. Really nice venue.
Tickets are only £80.
Yes. And it'll be a well good night. So come along.
Yes, definitely. And on that note, we will leave you to your day. We hope you've enjoyed listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Peace out.
Bye.